digital project. So this can be across news, feature, sports, and it's not for content generated by a single daily assignment, but a longer term story told digitally.
Okay.
So Emily, we don't need to play the videos, right? Because we don't need to consider those.
I think it's up to you all. You know, again, it can be considered, but shouldn't weigh heaviest. The heaviest consideration should be on the picture editing, but definitely feel free to watch the videos if you'd like together.
Isn't it amazing how often they're wearing purple? I just can't get over that. I just find the subject so kind of wrenching, the thought of a mother trying to save her daughter, you know.
I think I missed it, but where does the story actually take place? Just curious.
Is it in San Francisco or?
I don't think so.
Oh.
This is in San Francisco. I didn't photo edit this specifically, but I was kind of involved in the story. So I don't know if I should maybe just step out for this portion of it and let you all lead yourselves or anything like that. Honestly, I don't mind you all being as honest as possible too, but I leave it to you all. I can have AJ pop in and navigate this category if that would help, and jump back in half an hour.
I think we're okay.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not gonna
staying.
sway us in one direction or another. You're just refereeing.
Right.
I would just be silent.
You're just trying to keep us moving. I know.
Yeah. But this did take place in SF.
Yeah, it's
I
helpful to know.
didn't recognize that
actually.
mountain, but I haven't been there in a while.
So.
I don't think I need to see the video. Does anyone else?
Yeah, I think it's 7 minutes. So
Yeah,
I'm
let's keep
okay.
moving.
Yeah, I'm okay with skipping it if we're not weighing it too heavily.
Ah, welcome back.
I know. I'm just kind of bracing myself.
We'll be here for a while.
Yes.
Okay. Let's not prejudge.
I know. That's the thing, is I've been so surprised with some of the other digital versions.
This is interesting though. I kind of dig that layout.
Much easier to scroll through it than to have to, kind of.
Well, and the difference here is there's little stories. The print layout didn't have any stories, I don't think.
Right.
But also just the way that they've kind of consolidated them. So you're not having to go through, it just took so much longer to go through the other ones.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. I kind of digging this layout.
Yeah,
digging
me
this
too.
collage approach.
And what's funny is that normally I love white space, but I just felt like the other one had too much white space,
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't used in a way that got me excited.
Well, I think it was like visual fatigue after seeing the same presentation for a couple of spreads, like kind of
right.
It becomes kind of like droney.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm much more interested in this. I kind of like the Mondrian effect they have going on here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it better. I'm still like, what are we doing here? Meaning we have so many images
Mhm.
A lot of them give me nothing.
Mm.
Why are they here? Like, am I supposed to click on each one and I get a story about their time?
I think the
It's
story
like-
is on the image, right? So,
Yeah, I don't think there's anything's clickable, and like if you hover over their names or anything. Yeah,
So this
no.
just tells me she's a shoe cleaner.
I think this really has to hinge on the text around it for the setup. Like, why are we seeing this? And that you have to read the beginning to understand, I think. Just
I mean,
teeing up.
yeah, I guess I just like this is a situation where everything needs to be in everything that I need to know needs to be within that image. And sometimes that happens, and
Mhm.
sometimes it really doesn't. Like, I don't know anything about Kip Davis. The picture's giving me nothing. Or here, Kenneth McQueen, banquet server at Rainbow Room, March 15th, Prospect Park in Brooklyn.
Mm.
This picture means nothing to me, and that caption also means nothing to me.
mhm. But that's
So-
why, when we were looking at the print version, I thought if they had just kept only the ones that they had large before and thrown out a lot
Right.
of the little ones, but here in a way they kind of use them architecturally, within the layout that I feel is more successful. But
Yeah,
It's
But I see what
definitely
you're
a
saying.
better, it's definitely better
yeah.
Uh-huh.
than the other version for sure.
Yeah,
But I
see
totally
you're
know what you
saying.
mean. It's that
Uh-huh.
the journalism part of the photo is missing.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next because we'll do a round of ins and outs once we see it all.
Sure.
Sorry.
Sorry,
I
love you
bogged us down.
guys, but I'm gonna be locking
Uh,
down.
Yeah. Thank you, Emily.
Yeah. Oh, this was the one that, I don't know, when I first saw this when it was published, I just thought it was so amazing, but it was kind of the scope of it that I was just kind of bowled over.
Yeah, I remember when this came out, it did go, at least in the photo world, it went a little viral.
Yeah. It felt,
Oh, this is so much better than what was happening in print. I love
that's
this.
exactly what but see, this is a different story. It's a completely different story. It's not the nightlife story. And I feel like it's so much more interesting because of course it's more varied because it's daytime too.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it's, New York coming back to life.
I
And
think this was
so
the block party package, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
is it only block parties? I thought it was everything.
I'm
kind
I
trying
of.
to
think those
remember.
were different.
They were different. Okay.
Yeah. I just thought, it's so much less repetitive just by its nature
Yeah.
than the nightlife story, but because it includes so much else.
The movement of the scroll is actually like part of the enthusiasm here. It's part of the feeling
Oh, that's
of
interesting.
moving. It adds a chaos, which I like.
Uh-huh.
This was meant to be online.
Mhm.
Oh, but they do have some of the same images from the nightlife story too, like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of
Honestly, that
others.
makes me like seeing this makes me like the print version even less because I'm seeing what they didn't choose,
Yeah.
But
I think this is a whole separate package, but I could be
I
completely wrong.
think yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the
because they
print
have, like-
version was like trying to figure out
Mhm.
how to take what's in here and repackage it.
yeah. This
I
is
bet
great.
you're right. I bet you're right. Because they only took the slice of this story, which is the nightlife part.
Oh my God, this is the longest night of my life. How
This might be the longest day of your life. Yeah. Wow.
what
I
is the conceit? Is this what was the headline again? Let's keep moving.
It's New
Let's
York
keep
coming
moving, but-
alive again. It's kind of like
Yeah.
after coming out of quarantine, things are starting
Okay.
to open up. But it was before Omicron, right? So
Before Delta.
before Delta, yeah, even earlier.
But it doesn't have a head like no, these are all different days, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's over the course of 7 weeks.
I don't remember.
It was
Yeah.
definitely within the course of several days, not just one day.
Okay, cool.
But I was
I
gonna make
saw-
a joke about how everything closes in SF at like by 10. I'm here.
How everything what? Everything what? Emily, I'm
Closes.
sorry.
Closes so early in California.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference. for me.
Yes.
I see dates from late May and early July. So I think it's like the span of 6 weeks, probably.
Yes, we are a city that always sleeps.
Well, New York's not, I always say New York's not the place that, it's not the city that never sleeps, it's the people.
Here's a little bit, across the 5 boroughs between May 27th and July 17th.
Right.
Okay, cool. Okay.
I do remember being really impressed by this when it first came out.
Yeah, I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
It's just so kinetic.
Uh-huh. Oh, here's our story again.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh my God, 1 of 300.
Oh, so they are, yeah, there's, it looks like they're sticking to the journey structure, huh?
Mhm. Yeah, because it started with the maps, like from here to here.
Right, right.
So,
Okay, I can't stand this. I can't stand this.
Why, are you gonna look at it on your own computer or?
No, I just hate the like, here's an image and now we're gonna have text flying over the image.
Oh,
Like
that's
none of these
interesting.
images, all
Well,
of these images are
that's
being treated like
interesting.
wallpaper. You get half a second with
no,
it
well,
and then
that's
you're
because we're
scrolling.
scrolling fast. I think if we stop
If we stop to
scrolling,
read, if we stop to read it,
like
right?
if you scroll back up, right, you could look at the picture without any text on it.
Yeah.
We just don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
No, I know, but this still
Uh,
feels like
But I
it's
agree
not
that the text was
framed.
incorporated in a much more organic way in the one we just saw, right? Where the
Right.
text
Mhm.
kind of just ran over the surface instead of having that frame around.
I mean, ultimately, what bothers me about this is that for me, these images are very precious, and putting them in a frame helps give them that weight, you know,
Mhm.
and breath and room to hold with. And every time that you violate the image by scrolling on top of it, it
Mhm.
changes it and turns it into wallpaper. And I think that that's a mistake.
Hmm.
Like I much rather see this in a more traditional way,
Mhm.
but I'm old fashioned. I realize.
I actually am having a little bit of a struggle because I feel like they've added a lot more images and not all of them are as strong as what they had
Yeah.
in the print. I mean,
Yeah.
some of them are, some of the new ones are adding and are strong, but some of them are not. So,
Yeah.
and it's just making it longer and not necessarily,
Better.
that much, not as rich in proportion to the amount of time that they're asking us to spend on it, maybe.
They're also giving us a lot of words. I mean, if this is a journey, photographic journey through a
Mhm.
space, like why aren't the photographs just moving for us, pushing us forward? Instead, we're getting the text pushing us forward, and the photographs are still behind the text.
Yeah. I just feel like it's too much.
Yeah, I do too.
Do we want to
And they
drop
say
it?
print is dead.
Do you all want to drop this or just keep moving on and then we'll,
I think let's
I want to
keep-
drop it. Oh,
I could go through everything and then
yeah.
go do ins and outs, without having to go through it again. But because I mean, there are a lot of really amazing images in here, I think, but
But I think it's too much to where the ones that need to stand out are just getting lost in the ocean.
yeah, I feel, I mean, I definitely had felt much more impact when I was looking at the other version that we saw, the print version.
Yeah.
like why not even give us a layout like this? It's not ideal, but like at least it's photo forward.
Mhm.
Wild.
I do like some of these moving images, I have to say, it just animates it. But
Yeah. Which gives you that visual variety.
right. I do like this better than the print version.
Is that a different photographer? It must be.
The photographer?
Not
The
sure.
photographer. Oh, you mean whether there's more than one photographer?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, 'cause
different from the
This
print?
looks like a different, completely different vibe. Those images.
I
Well,
think you might be right.
they
That's
had
a
a lot
different
of,
vibe.
but they had a lot of the same images that were in print and that are here, right? They're just adding more images.
It looks like this is a project with 5 sections if you look up at the top. And it's
Okay.
Yeah.
for each of them. We're on cartoon right
Uh-huh.
now.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
We've changed sections. Got it. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which is, I think, how the print one was divided up too, right? It's just. So that must be a template, that thing of the big block going by with the text
Yeah.
on it, right? Must be what they have to deal with.
Yeah, it's if you look on the right rail, you'll see like the little stacks happening with each text block.
Oh.
Right, right. Yeah, this section I thought had some weak photography in it, both print and here, but compared to some of the other sections.
Mhm.
Although I like that. Well, this is a different,
This is a different
Yeah.
photographer.
yeah, right. So the last one. But the others I thought had some strong images.
Yeah, I feel like this package is very uneven photographically.
Yeah, I agree.
I do think this might be an interesting one for folks to click through on their own as well, in addition to seeing this scroll.
Okay.
Seems like there's a
Okay.
good amount of interactivity.
Huh,
But let's look at it together first.
okay.
This one is really, I was kind of poking around this one before. It's like a forensic kind of play-by-play of everything. And there's tons of links in here, tons of little videos.
Hmm.
And there's clickable stuff in here that you can go to other pages and keep exploring. Like it's really just like a trove of data.
I mean, it seemed like just from the beginning, they frame it as, the comprehensive report that's going to be the record for the ages, kind of.
Mhm.
thing.
I mean, it's way better than the I have to sign in
Mhm.
than the print version, no?
Yeah, I wasn't that impressed by the
know.
print version.
I didn't hate the print version.
I just expected more of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the challenge of the print version, I think, was there was so much text and limited space.
Mm-hmm.
But then also some odd photo pairings as well. Now that I think back to
Oh.
it. This one really is for the category we're in, right? It's supposed to be a bigger, longer term, not a
Project.
yeah, it's supposed to be a big project, right? So
Mm.
this is a very dense project.
Yeah, but I remember Elizabeth's problem with it last time. Or you brought up Ballage's work and wondering there was so many amazing bodies of
Mm.
work from that day,
Mhm.
and they chose not to dig into any of those.
But they're going chronologically, right? So let's see what
Mhm.
they end up with.
Yeah.
But I think they're also trying to use their own staff's work.
Yeah, I would guess that too. So. Six days to go. Oh, God.
Well, that's a great one. That image
Right.
up there.
Mm.
Whatever's happening, jolly truth, is that what it says? Jolly touch, something.
Sorry, where are you looking?
I'm
Yeah.
looking at the cell phone.
Oh, I have no
I was
idea
looking
what
at the
it's
caption.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
was
just-
too. What
I
does
just
it say on
love
the cell phone?
He's on Twitter. I can't jolly something. Jolly Town, Jolly Touch.
jolly touch. I hope it says
God.
jolly touch.
I think it says touch, and I'm not going to Google that.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Wow, they're going to go down to hours now. I mean, so we know that the photo editors were already trying to edit within a certain template of, a temporal kind of structure, right? Having to edit by specific like time periods.
I mean, I think this one is really driven by the investigation
Right,
and
right.
the photo team. I assume they were brought in early, but it's not a given.
Mhm.
And their job is to help people
Sorry,
understand.
what was that blank that we just passed? Was that an ad or was that an actual picture? Oh yeah, I just didn't see that one, the Getty Images. Great, thank you.
So they are using some wires then.
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
using wires.
Yeah, but I bet a lot of it is their own.
It's interesting how it went from white backgrounds to black after the moment.
Hmm. Yeah, and they had another, at the beginning of that, they had a separate table of contents with the 3 different
Mhm.
phases. But, and now we're back to white again.
Yeah. Well, I thought we were in the after section. How are
I
we
think we're
now?
in the during.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think it's happening. So, I mean, just covering this must have been like deploying an army, right? The photo
Yeah.
department.
mhm.
Oh, here we're back to black.
Oh,
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder
surprise.
what that
What is triggering it, though?
significance of that is when it's black and when it's white.
I do kind of like their collage treatment. Like when it's key moments, they do seem to create these collages to get you to pause.
Hmm.
Well, I think this is like a really interesting question we have ahead of us.
Well, you definitely feel like this. I mean, this does seem like incredibly strong kind of evidence and like a record for history
Yeah.
to me. And I guess, you know, the photo editor's mandate is to try to make that,
And the amount of research that goes into something like
yeah, and
this.
make it as vivid as possible too.
Yeah. I mean, I think the choices that they're making with layout is to take the pressure off of any single image and to use all
Mhm.
images as
Mhm.
as proof, as documents, and as like flipbook, as storytelling device.
Mhm.
Um, which I think is super cool. I think that's like a super legitimate way to work. But that's a completely different way of using photography than the others have been using it in this so far, right?
Well, it's just the sheer kind
It's
of
just such a lift.
scope of it. Yeah.
It's a monumental lift.
Yeah, it's a lot of folders
Monumental.
open on a desktop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and not every story is commissioned work, right? Not every story is
Right,
hiring
right,
photographers. Like this is also photo editing.
right.
Like the,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I don't really understand the black and the white, you know, changeover.
I
There
don't
must be
either.
some rationale, but
I mean,
But
to Elizabeth's point yesterday, though, the fact that we aren't seeing photographs from those big projects that were happening at the same time, it's kind of I kind of wish that they hadn't made that choice to stay so fully with their own archive and then add just some wire images. Do you know what I mean? But I now see it in
yeah.
this space. Like I get why they did that. Like it's
I don't honestly don't really know which are their images and which are, you know, from other sources.
I think most of them are from them, except for the day of. There is some wire stuff that they start
Uh-huh.
using from the day of.
Yes, yes. I
I
would
think when they
assume
had
so,
control, I think they used their own, but when they had to use,
but,
you know,
mhm,
like CCTV
right.
footage from the Capitol, things like that.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. I mean, that would totally make sense. Oh, we've seen these before. Somehow I think if I read this entire thing, I would just lose all hope for this country. But
You know, we were talking about some other edits earlier that we saw where it felt like everything in the kitchen sink was just thrown at the wall and it's
Mhm.
included. And this could have easily been that,
Right,
but
right.
there is some restraint.
Uh-huh.
It's also interesting how in the after, the edits are like the photos got bigger and calmer and fewer. It's almost like the aftermath has a different feeling than the middle.
Mhm.
Oh,
Wow.
that's a cool photo.
God, it is.
I never saw that.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's
Said it
not
was an
so.
AP photo too. Surprised no one else
Yeah.
used it.
So, but I wasn't even sure if it was even DC, that picture, or whether it was another state legislature, but anyway.
It was Georgia.
Oh, thank you.
Mm.
That would make sense. That would make a lot of sense. So that's why it would be an AP picture. I mean, I just keep feeling like this is such an accomplishment, you know?
That's kind of where I'm landing too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, my only problem with this is that when they choose to make their own work for this project specifically, like that portrait above, this
Mhm.
portrait as well, it's just, I'm not fond of those. I feel like those are strange, they're making strange choices there. This is lovely.
It does seem like the afterwards they had more latitude in assigning, you know, which little kind of mini stories they wanted to do to make those points.
Yeah. But it's still, like, that's great. I think it's just overwhelmingly impressive.
Oh God.
I'm looking ahead and it says 262 days later and it's still not
Oh
over.
my
I'm wondering if they're going to
God.
keep adding to
Wow.
this.
That's amazing. I wonder how long they worked on this.
At least 262 days.
Yeah.
Is that the same person as earlier who had his tie on?
Yeah,
Don't, okay.
it's true. It was the same
Don't stop
person.
scrolling.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can I just go back up for one quick second? Are those meant to be, what is this? Just related
It
stories
says
or?
dive deeper into the post reporting from
Okay.
that day.
Okay, I'm just curious because I saw another one earlier and I wasn't sure what it was.
Uh-huh. And they set it apart by doing it in black and white. So
Hmm.
wow, this is incredible.
I mean, look at how many people worked on it.
Wow, that's incredible. It just makes me so grateful I didn't have to work on it.
Thank you, Julian and Lizzie, for scrolling through.
Yes, thank you.
So
Thank
much.
Bravo. Thank
So-
Okay,
you.
we've seen this, right?
Yeah,
Maybe speed scroll this. Is that the exact
yeah, I
same
wouldn't
thing?
mind just
It's
sort
the
of
same
see
one.
it
Yeah.
in the company of the other
What is the
things.
title of this thing that what is our,
It's supposed to be a long term, like a long form kind of story, right? Not a
Got it.
single day
Exactly.
story.
Yeah,
Digital project can be news, features, or sports. So it kind of combines the other two in a way.
I knew this
Not-
one would come up again. I knew this one would come up.
Longer term story told digitally.
got it.
Mm.
Yeah.
So long term stories. Okay.
All right, I'm so curious to see what they did with this.
That's interesting pairing.
Nice. Hmm.
Mhm.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Is this the scroll? Is this kind of like starting and stopping on its own, or are you guys just so good at scrolling all of a sudden?
I know that it's stopping precisely at the right
Yeah.
place.
I'm clicking through one by one. So like this is a single button click.
Got it.
Oh,
It's
huh.
like that's a click. That's a
Uh-huh.
click.
That's
Ah,
interesting.
okay.
Oh, and they
Okay.
do have some extra pictures they didn't have in the other.
Yeah,
which-
can you go back
this,
one?
I think this one was in
Yeah.
the other one.
This one was in, the
Oh,
one
okay.
before I thought maybe wasn't in. I
No,
don't
it
remember
wasn't.
this one. Yeah. Oh, moving out.
That's weird that it says moving out, but it didn't tell me who that person is.
Hmm. Hmm. So they didn't have it
This is-
subdivided, did they, this way by
No, they didn't.
work and,
Not in the print
Huh.
version. No.
uh-huh. Retail, huh, interesting.
I don't know. I kind of like the print version better.
I like the print version too, but I mean,
I
I
think
like
this is
this also,
fab.
but I like this also, but I just, there's something about the print version that felt, I don't know, more.
I mean, having the sections broken up just changes how I interact with the story.
Yeah, I feel the same way, kind of. I don't mind having it divided up by chapters, but it removes a little bit of the, I don't know how to describe it, that kind of emotional fluidity that I felt, transferring one to the next, that continuity.
Yeah, it's a very different thing, but
It
I think it's
feels
still
different.
pretty
I still
fab.
think it's amazing too, but
yeah. Like every picture is dynamite. I've yet to see a picture where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
They're
that's
all
true.
good. They're all worthy. And they're all given space.
Oh wow, that last one was amazing.
And then that is a great last two. That one and the one
That
before
one right
it.
before this.
and the one before.
You get the
This
yeah.
one, oh my
the
god.
Matisse
Yeah.
dancing, and
And I
then you
don't
get the two
remember
people
that.
dancing.
I
I mean,
know.
Oh
That
my
is, and
god,
I
that
don't
is
remember
brilliant.
I
that
mean,
Matisse.
come on.
That is
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. And was the Matisse added? Because I
Yeah,
think I
I
just
don't
don't
remember it being in
remember.
the print one.
Yeah, I don't remember it being in the print one. So
That's
I
the
think
first time I
that-
saw it, and I'm just like, whoa.
That is a dynamite
Uh-huh.
edit right there. These are not short, huh? Okay. I'm like trying to remember everything that we've seen.
I have to take notes or I
Yeah.
won't
Yeah.
remember. I'm writing everything down. I just think it's so hard for any sort of normal long-term project to compete with some of these
I know.
mega projects that
I
have just been
know.
going on and on.
Yeah.
Especially at a time when there have been such, really critical moments of history.
Yeah. And with this one, I don't see why it needs to be digital. This seems like a print story. I mean, it's fine digital, but
Mhm. I like the images a lot.
yeah,
do
it's
too.
totally
Yeah.
solid.
No.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
those
so
last
too.
3 in sequence are great.
Mhm. It's just,
I mean, the challenge is it's a stacked category, so we do have to think about where does it rank in that stack.
right, right. And you're competing with some of these once in a lifetime kind of projects, but
Yeah.
yeah, but the way I just love these pictures.
Wow.
They're great. They're fab.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Who's this photographer?
That's what I wanted to ask too, but I
I
didn't
don't
know
think
where.
we're supposed to know, are we?
We're not supposed to
Well,
know.
Oh,
No,
somebody
it's
I
right
don't
there.
know. Yeah, Letitia Vanson. I have no idea who that is.
I don't think it's as big of a problem on photographer as it is to know who the photo editor is and keep
Right.
Okay.
played by that. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, these are stories that already exist in the world. There's no stopping you all from knowing.
I'd just like to say for the record, this is not my computer, so I don't know why there's ads for seniors. But oh well.
That's hilarious.
That is
No,
hilarious.
he's lying. This is totally catered to him and his interests.
I am not 80 years old and I'm not losing my memory last time I checked. but-
Hey, I'm a lot closer to that than any of you. So
Shots fired.
Uh,
I don't get the ad
Yeah.
choices, but I know that's not relevant.
so, there are so many of these kind of coming back out into the world stories that I'm starting to get a little confused, but the gathering.
I'm sorry.
place.
I kind of spaced a second. What is? Can
It's
you
a
go back to
gather.
the-
It's called gathering.
how we
we're starting-
gather.
Yeah.
I don't believe we've seen each other yet.
No, I don't
Or seen this
remember
one.
this. Yeah, I don't remember this
That
story.
too, but
But
yeah. So
yeah,
unless anyone remembers otherwise, I think this is your first encounter with this.
that's my
Yeah.
impression also. Yeah.
This is.
So it's just that they have so many stories that are kind of in a similar vein.
It's this is totally random, but that font is throwing me off because that's not the Times font, is it?
Oh, huh. I wouldn't know.
This is an interesting sequence.
Yeah.
Brooklyn one
It's-
was.
It's again that challenge of trying to integrate many different photographers, right?
Yeah.
So-
Well, and also at some point, I start to struggle with is this a story or a listicle?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oof.
that's an interesting.
That is a
question.
brutal thing to say and so relevant.
Somebody agree with me so I don't get hate mail.
But it's a really crucial question. So
Well, because at some point, I kind of, it starts to get like that drone feeling we're talking about, right? Where you start to kind of go, wait, what am I looking at again? Right?
right. It's kind of like, what's the thread again?
Exactly.
Yeah, so this we've seen. This is where I really thought it worked better than in print, but
Oh yeah, agree.
Yeah.
I thought this was I mean, now that you've just said that listicle thing, I'm like shook here a little bit
Yeah.
because there were a lot of stories like this in the last year.
Mhm.
Right. But this has a unifying thread for me, it has
Yeah.
such a direct kind of question that it's asking of these photographers. But
Mhm. Yeah, because the whole conceit of this was trying to help, not help, but give access to Asian photographers
right.
and an acknowledgement that access is not always there.
Yeah, and let them sort of inform all of us. I love that one of the lamp. You know, what they're going through in a time. That's so scary. I guess what I like in terms of the photo editing aspect, I like the fact that the way that they've sequenced the different artists as well as the individual pictures, I feel like there's enough of a switch usually from one photographer to the other that they don't all blur together for me. You know, I
Mhm.
feel like I get a sense of the distinctive sensibilities of the artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think the choice of photographers here compared to
Mhm.
that last one where it felt like a little mushy, like they picked a bunch of photographers who kind of looked the same. The last thing that we just saw.
Mhm.
Here, they chose a range of photographers who do a range of art, make a range of art, which,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
There's like authorship and voice and presence.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
right.
And
But they
and
held
also
holding together with love, right? Love is
Right,
the,
exactly. That's the unifying thread. Yeah.
right.
and like Elizabeth was saying, like as a photo editor,
Mhm.
you did have some control over sequencing who goes after who to
Right.
to help without saying it, to like to know that you're switching into a different lane.
Exactly. Because even if you had removed the names, often you could tell there's, it's a different sensibility. So,
Yeah. I think one thing that I keep thinking about as we look at a lot of these projects is when you have, 5, 10, how many ever photographers collaborating with you on a project, that is really, really hard to pull off without it
yeah.
just turning into mush.
Right. Right. I'm sorry, what was the last image again on this sequence? Sorry, I just sort of spaced out for a second. Sorry. I see. Great. Thank you. Great. Thanks.
All right, hold on. Can you go back to the beginning? What are we looking at?
Is there a headline on this one or no? Maybe refresh it. Did not
This
load,
is
or-
the top of the page, but we can refresh.
Oh, is this the transformation one again? Remember the
Oh,
transformation
yep,
story?
I think you're right.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, but there's
right.
no like headline or anything. It's
Okay.
just,
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like it failed to load or something.
right, right. Oh, it's interesting. It's a different order. That shirt was at the
Oh.
end of the last one.
That was almost like a preface before the actual article started.
Yeah. Oh, and before they had the window that was dark and yeah, see the light next to each other, but here they spaced it out.
Oh darn! I really liked that. That was like one of my favorite little nuggets. in the book.
Juxtapositions.
Yeah, I was like, that was really clever.
I also thought they had more than one butterfly, which was kind of
Mhm.
maybe too on the nose for transformation. But oh, here's the other.
There's
that's
the
a
other one.
moth.
Don't-
Yeah, I think it's a moth, maybe. But anyway.
There was another photo that stood out for me, was the cracking glass in the window frame.
Mm-hmm.
It was just those little things where I was like, oh, that's a
Yeah.
clever way to think about how do you visualize transformation.
Right. I liked a lot of the images. I just thought again that it was just such a challenge to make them all come together in a way.
I think for me, my problem with this is
There's another one.
How is this not just stock
Uh.
photography? Like,
Hmm.
none of these pictures feel transcendent in any way. Like,
Mm,
here are some photographs of a tulip. I just,
Oh, that's an interesting question.
yeah.
and there's nothing, listen, I love stock photography.
Mhm.
I totally love it.
There's that picture.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a tough one though, because the
Wait. At the very end, did it say photographs by, was it all one person?
Multiple- No,
I
it's
thought it was a
multiple
lot of
photographers.
people.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, but didn't it just say photographs by Amr Afiki? Are they all by?
No,
Oh, no,
Oh,
no.
I see.
They
That's
have
how
like
they're
a-
giving credit.
it's like
Oh,
a
that's
bibliography. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like a table of contents, or or
No.
what do you call it? Credits at the end. So
I've actually never seen that before. It's a really
yeah, I don't think I
interesting
have
way to do
either.
it.
Right.
I think you usually see that in like an art gallery when it's at the back of it, where they'll show you like the names of people.
Uh-huh. Huh.
okay.
I know. But see, this is why I kind of was reluctant to give up on this story in the earlier category, because I knew there was going to be some really blockbuster
Yeah.
projects in this category that are just going to blow everything else out of the water. So yeah, I feel like we've seen this. I don't know that we
Yeah.
need to necessarily go through it again.
Could we
but-
just briefly just go through? I just want to remind myself what I saw because there's so much.
Oh, uh-huh. Right.
Yeah, we'll
I
go
like-
through the top of each and then do some ins and
Yeah,
outs.
that's good.
Because I'm trying to mentally make like a top 4 list in my head now.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yeah, can I have like 1 second just to, I don't need to see anything. I just need to make a note for myself about which ones I'm
Actually,
interested in.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm down to 4 actually.
Oh, Elizabeth, what are they? I'm so interested.
Well,
No.
not in any particular order. I really like the one of just in the order that we saw them. The New York Times, The City Coming Alive, the Washington Post Insurrection, the New York Times, A City Ruptured, and the New York Times, The Asian Love. Those are my 4. So,
I'm down with that.
right. But you should look at your own list.
yeah.
And I like this Israel one too, but it just was kind of 5th for me.
Should we do like an in out? Just because I'm having a hard time with so many of them.
Sure, I had to take notes. That's the only way I know.
Yeah.
So
Let's do
sure,
ins
let's do
and
in and
outs.
out. Great.
So I say out,
Out,
Yep.
out,
Out.
out, in,
in,
Out.
out,
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 Out.
in,
In.
in,
Out.
out,
in,
in,
In. Out.
out.
I would actually,
Oh,
I would
actually,
vote
no,
this
wait.
in. Yeah, I would put this in just to keep it on the table. 'cause
Yeah,
I really like
yeah.
this.
I really like this too.
Yeah,
Out,
Out.
out,
in,
in,
In. Out.
out.
Oh,
in.
Oh,
I know, I would
okay.
keep this in, again, just to keep it in the top group, but I feel like there's not going to be room for it, but
So
we have
then,
6 now.
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah.
so then the question for,
Do we have a top 3 in any order? Just the top 3?
I think insurrection, for me, it's insurrection nights and insurrection nights.
You mean the
Um,
city coming alive, that one?
yes,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
the COVID this one, yeah, city ruptured. Those are my top three. I don't know if I can figure out which one's first yet, but those are my top three. And then I would do, I think it's an open question if we want to like put in the like, these are just structured so differently. The call for artists, if we feel like that's a kind of,
I really like
I
the
really like
Asian
this one.
love. I like the Asian love as
okay,
the,
let's do that.
you
That
know,
would be
as
my,
the fourth, but
That would be
or
my
at lea-
fourth.
as one of the four, I should say.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
could lose those
for-
last two.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna ask Shaminder what your top four were, because
I think those
those are
first
really-
four are my top four. Not in that order, but top four.
yeah, I don't think that's the right order, but then, dun, 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 what's the order?
You know, as much as I'm so torn because I think that Washington Post insurrection is just such an incredible historical document, but just my heart just loves that city ruptured one so much, you know, in
Yeah.
terms of just the whole thing. But it's kind of like, do we want to recognize, just as Shaminder said, that how monumental that accomplishment was, you know?
Well,
Didn't
and,
we
and I
give-
think it's
didn't
also
we give-
important. Sorry.
oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, didn't we, not that we should think about ourselves at this moment, but didn't we give the Resurrected City the first award for,
I don't think
Something.
we've seen the Resurrected City in that form before. We
no,
saw-
it's print, as print.
Right,
Yeah.
no, but we saw only a tiny portion of this as
And
nightlight.
I also wouldn't.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
wouldn't
but I
co-
meant the
wouldn't
black
say-
and white one.
But I-
Oh, that's a city
yeah.
ruptured.
City Ruptured.
Yeah, that's a different, yeah, sorry.
But I wouldn't take this out just because we honored it somewhere else.
I agree,
I'm not saying take
I
it,
agree.
I'm saying I wouldn't put it first.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I would put it first. That would be this would still be my first, but
I think January 6th is my first.
Yeah, I think so
okay.
too.
And
This
I'm
is-
fine, I'm totally fine with that because I do
And I-
think it's just extraordinary, but.
Yeah. And I
Mhm.
do want to kind of acknowledge, like, not everything that a photo editor does is hiring a photographer or working on
Or
some
the
amazing essay.
editing,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
this is the meat and
Mhm.
potatoes of photo editing. Like, there's a lot of these
Yeah.
kind of assignments that you work on, and they did an
Mhm.
amazing job.
No, I agree. I agree. Because you're right. Given what they were told to do, it could have been so much less interesting. You
Yeah.
know, they still would have fulfilled what they were told to do, but
Right. It would have been checking a box to check it, not
right, instead
doing
of,
it with some thought and intention.
yeah, incredible. But so then would we want to make, which we want to make third then? If we had City Ruptured second, is that right?
I would put City Ruptured third. I would put
Ah.
Nights When New York Felt Alive second,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
only because this is truly working digitally.
I
This
agree.
is like this should be living digitally, and it completely fails as we. I think it fails when it's in print form,
Mm-hmm.
and whereas the Ruptured actually works great in both locations.
Rupture
But
and
I'm not
struggle a
sure
little.
that it digitally is like. I'm not sure the digital platform is giving it anything
Yeah.
Extra kind of? or-
extra. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm struggling with this one too. I really like
Okay.
the print presentation. I would actually
Uh-huh.
move this. I would swap this with the Asian Love one and make this one the honorable mention.
Oh, that's
shit.
interesting. Wow.
spicy.
I mean, I could go with that, actually. I could see that just because I feel like this is so much more different from the print, and the City Ruptured isn't that much different from the print, but so you're kind of rewarding it in its own incarnation, kind of, you know. But what do you think, Emily?
Sure.
Okay,
feel
so
good about those
Washington,
first four?
so the insurrection is first, and tell me again what we just said was second.
I think it's the order
Nights-
we have.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the nights when the city comes alive. Uh-huh.
then Asian Love,
Mhm.
and then City Ruptured would be honorable mention.
Okay. I'm good with that, actually. To tell you the truth, if we hadn't already awarded a City Rupture in print, I would be fighting for to move it higher. But since
Yeah,
it was
I
in print
agree.
and since it hasn't transformed so, amazingly into digital, I'm fine with having it be honorable mention. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to put it in third and put Asians. My feeling is it's like a much better edited. It's like incredibly well edited, beginning to end, like from the commissioning through the direction to the editing is like expertly done. How the city
the
ruptured.
City
What is it?
Rupture,
Re-
City
Ruptured.
Ruptured,
Yeah.
a City Ruptured. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and the Asian American story is like it's just not as tight.
I think it works
But
really
I
well,
appreciate
actually.
it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I think it works really well, the Asian Love one, now that it's
Yeah.
in digital. And I feel like the editing is really done really well. So,
I would agree. I do feel like it's not just a collection of different people's work. Like I
right.
see the editing. It's tight for me.
I feel that way too, and that they've structured it in a way that has some logic to it. So the Insurrection is first, and the City Coming Alive is second. And the Asian
Yep.
Love is third, and
Third.
then honorable mention for City Ruptured. Is that
Yep.
everybody good with that?
Love it.